My sister and her husband moved in with me temporarily. Now she tells everyone it's her house, and tries to kick me out after accusing me of coming on to her husband. I finally snap. Hi Reddit. Buckle up, because this has been brewing for months and I've finally reached my limit. I'm a 31F homeowner. I worked 2 jobs for years, skipped vacations, and did everything right to afford a little 2-bedroom bungalow I bought last year. Nothing fancy, just mine. Enter my sister Mandy and her husband Troy. Back in January, Mandy called me crying. She and Troy had fallen on hard times. Troy lost his job, Mandy's freelance work dried up, and they were being evicted. She begged me to let them stay, just for a few weeks, while they got back on their feet. I hesitated. Mandy and I were close as kids, but as adults, she got controlling. Still, I felt for her. So I said yes. Biggest mistake of my life. At first it was all fine. I cleared out the 2nd bedroom for them and let them use my guest bathroom. Mandy kept saying, "We'll be out before you know it." Then I started noticing weird little things. She told the mailman she was the lady of the house. She asked me not to invite my friends over because it's not good for the vibe. I laughed at this and told her I would do whatever I damn well please in my house. That subdued her for a moment, but then she was right back at it the next day. She accidentally put some of her stuff in the master bathroom instead of the guest one. She even took down my framed family photos and replaced them with hers. I was genuinely baffled. I asked her about it and she laughed like I was being dramatic. "It's just for now," she said. "Why are you being so territorial?" "Because it's my house, Mandy." If her dominating habits weren't enough. Soon lines started to get blurred. Her husband Troy was polite, but quiet. We didn't interact much. Until the morning he accidentally walked in on me in the shower. Yes, really. I had locked the door. Or so I thought. I was rinsing shampoo out of my hair when the door opened and there was Troy, frozen like a deer in headlights. I screamed, he apologized, and backed out immediately. I was shaken, but chalked it up to an honest mistake. Or at least I tried to. That same evening, Mandy was cold and weird with me. Then I overheard her on the phone whispering, "She thinks she's so much better than me." Prancing around naked in front of my man like a skank. I was floored. When I confronted her about it later, she didn't deny it. She said, "What else was I supposed to think? You've been throwing yourself at him since we got here. Always walking around in tiny shorts, no bra, showing off. I sleep in pajama shorts and a tank top. And may I add, it's my house." She told me I needed to respect her marriage and start wearing more modest clothes around her husband. I told her I'd wear whatever I wanted in my own home. If she felt so strongly about my attire, she could get the EFF out. That's when she said the words that made my blood run cold. "This is our home now. You invited us. You don't get to treat us like guests. Guests are exactly what you are, Mandy. Don't get it twisted. You pay no bills, there is no lease, you have no say about what I do around here. This is your only warning. The next time you disrespect me, you're out of here." Mandy didn't respond. Her face turned red and she stomped off to the guest room. I thought this would be the end of the drama, but nope, it just kept on coming. Fast forward to the following week. The final straw. Mandy invited Troy's entire extended family to visit from out of state. She didn't ask me first. I came home from work and found 6 people in my living room. Troy's parents, 2 brothers, and their wives, just making themselves at home. I greeted them awkwardly and immediately made a beeline to my sister. Mandy was in the middle of welcoming everyone. They must have just arrived. She stood in the middle of the living room like a hostess, beaming from ear to ear, her voice smooth like honey. "We're so glad you could come to our house. Let me give you the tour." "Our house?" I fumed internally. I pulled her aside and reminded her, loudly, that it was my name on the deed and they were guests. She smiled sweetly and said, "Let's not make a scene, Rhonda." I let it go then but vowed to talk to her later. I didn't really want to embarrass her in front of Troy's folks, but this was getting out of hand. But the real kicker? That night, she told me that it would be best if I stayed somewhere else, like at a hotel, while Troy's family was in town, because they didn't feel comfortable sharing space with me after what happened with Troy. Apparently she had spun this insane narrative to them. She told them I came on to Troy. That I'd been trying to seduce him. She told them that she had been graciously letting me stay with them out of pity because I had no husband and no job. She told me this like it was the most normal thing in the world and expected me to go along with it. Oh, and by the way, they would be staying for 2 weeks. 6 complete strangers. That's 9 people in a 2-bedroom home. That's when I snapped. But I did so quietly. I didn't say another word to Mandy. I simply walked away and went straight to my room. I had plans to make. The next morning, while everyone was out sightseeing, I changed the locks. I packed all of Mandy's, Troy's, and their guests' things into trash bags and left them in the driveway with a note that said, "You are no longer welcome in my home. You have 24 hours to collect your belongings. After that, it's trespassing." Of course, that didn't go over well. Mandy came back screaming and pounding on the door. I told her through the Ring camera, "You made your bed. Go lie in it. Somewhere else." I watched the full meltdown from my bay windows. At first, Mandy's mother-in-law screeched about her designer clothes being in trash bags and threatened to call the police on me. But Troy, looking resigned and contrite, finally came clean and told her that this wasn't their house. That's when all hell broke loose. All of his relatives turned on them, calling them liars and broke bums. I noticed a few of my neighbors come outside to watch the spectacle, looking horrified when Mandy and one of her sisters started to square up after Mandy insulted the girl's cheap hair extensions. How the argument got to that subject I don't know. Mandy always did like to hit below the belt. I reached for my phone to call the police. This was definitely getting out of hand now. Luckily, they were pulled apart. The father-in-law finally looked around and noticed the spectacular scene they were making and the audience they had acquired. He told everyone they needed to get out of there. So everyone picked up their belongings and threw them in their cars. They sped off in opposite directions, tires screeching. It didn't take long before Mandy tried to retaliate against me. She went full scorched earth. She posted a long Facebook rant accusing me of abandoning family in need, sabotaging her marriage, and using my money to control people. I didn't engage. But friends and family started reaching out, some siding with her, some shocked. My mom, ever the peacekeeper, said, "You should have just let them stay a few more weeks." I told her that if she felt that strongly, Mandy and Troy were welcome to move in with her. She didn't say a word else about it after that. Apparently, Mandy and Troy had a hard time finding somewhere to stay. It seems Mandy's domineering reputation preceded her. They ended up couch surfing for a bit before going to stay with Troy's cousin in a studio apartment with communal bathrooms. I shuddered a little when I heard that. I haven't spoken to either of them since. And you know what, Reddit, my piece has never been louder. Update. Hey Reddit, I'm back with the Unhinged sequel no one could have predicted. If you didn't read the original post, quick recap: my sister Mandy and her husband Troy moved into my house during a temporary financial hardship. She started claiming it was her house, accused me of trying to seduce Troy when he accidentally walked in on me in the shower, and tried to kick me out of my own home when Troy's family came to visit. I kicked them out instead, changed the locks, and finally got my life back. That was about 3 months ago. Life was good. I got new locks, cleaned the whole house top to bottom, and saged the hell out of my living room. My peace was palpable. I went back to sleeping in my own bed without feeling like a guest in it. I even painted the guest room a different color just to symbolically wipe the slate clean. But just when I thought it was over. 2 weeks ago I got a text from an unknown number. Hey. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. But I just wanted to say, you were right. About everything. I knew it was Mandy. The texting style matched hers. I stared at it like it was a trap. 'Cause, let's be real, this had to be a trap. I didn't respond. Then she followed up. I left Troy. Or rather, I kicked him out. We got into this huge fight and some things were revealed. Turns out the creep was watching you in the shower. He admitted it. Said he always wondered what it'd be like with you. It was sick. I won't lie, I read that and my stomach turned. Then came the piece de resistance. I'm having a divorce party next weekend. You should come. It'd be kind of poetic, right? I said no. Of course I said no. But you know who didn't take no for an answer? Our mutual cousin Heather, who has always lived for drama and immediately RSVP'd yes to the event of the season. Heather FaceTimed me the day of the party, tipsy and giggling. You're seriously missing it. Mandy's wearing a black sequin dress and making a speech about rebirth like it's a damn TED Talk. There's a Troy piñata, with googly eyes. I laughed for a solid 5 minutes. She swung her camera around and showed me a table full of cupcakes with little divorce-themed toppers that said things like "Who wants to be my next mistake" and "Free at last." But the wildest part? Mandy had printed out a giant poster board timeline titled, "How I Lost the Plot, a Cautionary Tale." It included key moments like, January, moved in with my sister. Mistake number 1. February, accused her of hitting on my husband. Mistake number 2. March, got thrown out. Hit rock bottom. And then, in bold Sharpie, April, realized my husband is a creep and my sister was the only person trying to help me. Heather said Mandy even publicly apologized to everyone for the lies. Apparently, Troy did make multiple comments about me, none that I ever heard directly, but enough that her paranoia had roots. He said things like, "She bends over, in his words, too long, to look for pans in the kitchen." Or, "She's always compliments my workout regimen and tells me she could see progress and that I look good." These were all innocent interactions on my part. I never wanted her husband. He deflected and blamed me to avoid suspicion. And Mandy took the bait every single time. By the end of the night, Mandy told everyone she was going to start therapy, move into a different studio apartment, and stop trying to be a main character in someone else's house. Color me shocked. So, did I go to the party? No. But I'm not going to lie, it looked kinda fun. People should definitely throw divorce parties more often. It may even be therapeutic. Anyway, last week, Mandy dropped off a letter at my door. A handwritten one. It said, "I know I can't undo what I did. I was insecure, bitter, and angry at my own life. I made you the villain because it was easier than looking in the mirror. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted to own up to my part, finally." She also included a $100 Visa gift card as a symbolic rent payment for being a nightmare. I haven't responded. And I'm not sure I will. I know my sister very well. She's very fickle. I'm not sure this isn't just a ploy for me to let my guard down. I will wait and see if the changes are long-term, and only then will I think about mending things. Forgiveness isn't just a word, it's a process. And I'm still in mine. I also have a short Troy update. Oh boy, it's crazy. So, after Mandy kicked him out, he went to stay with a coworker, who also ended up kicking him out after she caught him accidentally walking in on her 16-year-old daughter in the bathroom. Let that sink in. Yeah, yikes. That guy has serious problems and is potentially dangerous. He needs to be put on a list. He's now reportedly living out of his car and got fired from his job. Karma's got him in a chokehold and hopefully it keeps him there for a long time. I know one thing for certain, I'm definitely not losing sleep over it. Final thoughts. I don't know if I'll ever be close with Mandy again. But I'm proud of myself for setting boundaries and sticking to them. Letting her and Troy into my house was a mistake, but letting her go wasn't. If you take anything away from this story, let it be this. Don't set yourself on fire to keep family warm. Especially if they brought the matches.